Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Shannon and I love rocks and gemstones, and rock tumbling is my favorite hobby. And I'm here to share with you today my entire journey tumbling sodalite. Sodalite is a gorgeous blue and white stone that almost looks like blue marble. It's really lovely, and there are very few stones that have this kind of rich royal blue color. And this stone can be a little bit of a challenge because the blue is a nepheline and it is Mohs hardness 5.5 to 6, but the white is calcite and it is Mohs hardness 3. So the risk of undercutting with sodalite is pretty high. And undercutting is where the softer elements of a stone start grinding away faster than the harder elements, and you get either crevices or pits in a stone. And because of that, in this video today, I'm using two devices. I'm using a rotary tumbler to start and then a vibratory tumbler to finish. And if you're brand new to rock tumbling and you're not sure that you want to invest in two devices, then the Raytech Tumble Vibe is really reasonable as a starter vibratory tumbler, and I'll link to that below. But also, if you're a beginner, you might want to wait on sodalite a little bit. Certainly watch the video so that it can give you some inspiration. But I do highly recommend a vibratory tumbler because it gives it enough grit and vibration to smooth the surface without eating away at the calcite pieces. So one more thing before we start. So I already mentioned that sodalite's made out of nepheline and calcite, but if you do find some pieces that have some pink feldspar in them, like this, the orthoclase, this is called sunset sodalite. And you might find a couple of pieces of those in each of your batches of rough, and it's really pretty, this blue and white and pink. So if you're curious about tumbling sodalite, then let's get started and I'll show you the rough. Today I'm going to be starting some sodalite. I've been seeing a lot of other people tumble this lately, and I had a really big batch of rough, and I thought I'd start some. It's a really pretty stone. It's blue and white, but the white is super soft. It tends to undercut, and even the blue part is really soft. It's like 5.5 Mohs, which isn't super soft, but in my previous experience tumbling this, it will lose mass quickly. So this is one that I'm going to have to check every couple of days to make sure I'm not losing a good amount of stone. I will start it off in coarse, as I do even with the softest stones, just to get some of these rough edges off. But I'm not going to add as much coarse, probably about half of the amount that I would normally use. And I'm going to check that every 2 days until I feel it's ready to move on to medium. So it's one of my very favorite stones. It's really gorgeous. This really deep royal blue, and it takes a nice shine, but it needs a lot of care and attention while tumbling. So we are going to, let me get these in the barrels right now. Here is the sodalite after 1 week in coarse, and it's just looking gorgeous. It's ready to move on to medium. I mean, look at this blue color. Look how stunning this is, this blue and white. It looks like blue marble. And it's just one of the reasons why I totally adore sodalite. It's such a gorgeous color. And this is about Mohs 5.5. So it is a softer stone. It does act like a softer stone. And in my past experience, I left it in medium for the full week, and it really ate up all the stones. So for that reason, I'm going to move the rest of the stages to the Raytech Tumble Vibe, and so that it's in those stages for a brief period. it's not ground down just as much, and you'll get to see the progress of this through this week. So let me get these cleaned up really good and into the tumble vibe. So here's the Sodalite ready to go into medium grit in the Raytech Tumble Vibe. And I have it with 2 teaspoons of medium grit, 5 tablespoons of sugar, because it should be 1 tablespoon of sugar per pound of rocks and media in the barrel. And then I'll add about 4 tablespoons of water to this, just enough to get it tumbling. And I will check this again in 12 hours and then see how it goes and rinse it off in 24 hours. This is the Sodalite after 24 hours in medium grit in the Raytech Tumble Vibe. And its surface feels really smooth. It doesn't appear to have lost a lot of mass, and it's got a really nice shape to it. And oh, it's so gorgeous. Just look at that blue. Oh, so nice. So I've rinsed this off really good, and I'm gonna get it back in the Tumble Vibe in fine grit for 24 hours and take a look at it then. So nice. Sodalite is so gorgeous. All right, let's get this going again. Here is the Sodalite after 24 hours in fine grit, and it's looking really nice. It's got good shape. It doesn't look like it's lost significant mass, and it's just looking really smooth. But I wanted to point out a couple pieces, like you see the pink in here, and that's some inclusions of feldspar. And when you have the pink in with the white and blue of the Sodalite, it's called Sunset Sodalite. And there are a couple of pieces like that in this batch. And it's a really pretty, that shade of salmon pink looks really good with this royal blue. And yeah, this batch is looking really nice, so I'm going to wash it. And we're going to move on to extra fine grit for a day. Here is the Sodalite after 24 hours in extra fine grit, and it's feeling really smooth. I do see a little bit of evidence that there's some undercutting starting to happen, so yeah, I don't want to grind these with grit any longer, but you know, it's already been through extra fine. So I'm going to put this back. I'm going to put it in my polish barrel in the Raytech Tumble Vibe, and I'm going to use cerium oxide on this because I have read that Sodalite shines up really nicely with cerium oxide rather than the aluminum oxide. So I gotta get this a really good wash first to make sure there's no grit living in those parts. Like here, I see a little bit of undercutting there. But I want to make sure that there's no grit transferred onto the polish stage. So I'm going to give that a wash cycle, and then we'll get this into polish. Here is the Sodalite after being in the Tumble Vibe for 2 days with cerium oxide and the sugar mixture. And I'm going to check on it today. Like, oof, I'll tell you, when you use the sugar mixture, it is sticky. For sure. So just like the other barrels, I'm going to take a piece out, give it a good rinse, and then we'll dry it off, and we'll see what the polish is like. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. That's got some nice polish on it. And I do see some evidence that some of these have like chipped up while in the vibe. And Sodalite is a stone that does tend to undercut. Like the softer parts of the gemstone will start to grind away faster than the harder parts. I do see some evidence of that where some of the white has started to grind away and then leaving the blue there. So maybe 2 days was too long, but I do know that Sodalite doesn't polish very quickly. So I wanted to give it a little extra time. But some of these pieces may just have to go back in another batch of Coarse, because you see how badly that one has done. So let me see. Let's go through here. Take out another one, give it a rinse. And dry it off. All right, and it does have some nice polish on it. And again, I use cerium oxide instead of aluminum oxide because I just heard that it works better on Sodalite. So I'm going to give these a good rinse off and then show you the finished product. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching how I polish Sodalite. Now, this is a rather instant gratification stone if you do just use the rotary and the vibratory tumbler like I did in this video. You know, it was done in less than 2 weeks. And you know, check out that timeline. Like, go back and take a screen capture if you want to see the timeline and the recipe that I used. So if you're a brand new tumbler and you want to learn the basics, then I do have an online Rock Tumbling 101 course, and I'll put the link in the description below. In case you're interested in getting started, I show you the equipment and the supplies that you need. I show videos of all the stages so that you can finish a complete batch of your first stone. I don't recommend Sodalite, but this could be one that you work up to. And for experienced tumblers, if you haven't tumbled Sodalite before, I really hope that I've piqued your curiosity. And if you'd like to see how I tumble a wide variety of gemstones, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single gemstone video. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon.